Welcome to Earthtide Studios. I am Zach Knight, and in today's video we are looking at how to produce huge background vocals in modern music. This technique is used by a lot of alternative artists such as A Day to Remember, Bring Me the Horizon and Falling in Reverse, but is also used in pop music by artists such as Ed Sheeran, Justin Bieber and Billie Eilish. It's found almost anywhere in pop music these days. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the track Therapy by Color and Shade. And if you feel like you get a lot out of this video and would like to learn more vocal production techniques, we have a free vocal production course available that teaches you the basics of recording, editing, and mixing your vocals. Just click the link below and it's yours. Okay, let's jump into the session. So we're here in Cubase, guys, and we're going to look at breaking down this production that we've got for the background vocals of this song. This is Therapy by Color and Shade, and I'll explain a little bit about the production firsthand. So this particular track was recorded towards the end of 2019, and it was a song that we had a lot of fun doing. And I remember when we were doing the chorus, I really felt like there wasn't enough just support in the vocal. So I decided, after talking to the singer Tim, that I really wanted to bring out some more layers in the chorus. And I'm going to show you what the layers that I'm talking about actually sound like. This is actually the final mix of that song. So let's have a listen. That'll just repeat over because it repeats over twice over. And that is actually a two-part harmony. And as you can see, there's two stereo tracks there. So there in total is 4 particular vocal takes of that section. I'll show you what the rest of the song sounds like with it at the same time. This is the break after the breakdown where it goes to acoustic guitar with the lead vocal and everything. Therapy, you need therapy, 'cause he moved on while you slept on. Why can't you see that this grows? So as you can see, that's providing a lot of support. I'll show you in context what it sounds like in that section without the background vocals playing. Therapy, you need therapy, 'cause he moved on while you slept on. Why can't you see that this? As you can see, as much as it doesn't sound bad, it definitely sounds significantly emptier and loses a lot of impact. The big thing with these vocals as well is they actually run through the whole chorus, and they don't actually sound super prominent in those sections. I'll show you what I mean with that by showing you this particular chorus, which is the second one, without the vocals and then with them coming in. So this is without. And then with. It's significantly subtler in this section, but it actually really helps make the song just have that extra layer of harmonic reinforcement to push it up. So we'll go back over to the section after the breakdown, and I'm going to show you a bit of like the actual things that are going on there with the mix of this section. So here's what the background vocals sound like without any of the mixing on them. Now, there is some bus processing still on these, but otherwise this is just straight how they are. So the first thing to note that I have done is before I even get to the bus, I've actually applied EQ to every single one of these channels using the channel equalizer here in Cubase. Now we've got a low pass filter here running at 12K, and we've also got a high pass filter at 200 Hertz, basically removing the low end below 200 Hertz and taking off the high frequencies above 12,000 Hertz. And it's not removing all of them, but most of them. I'll show you what it sounds like without that on, just soloing this one track here. And then on. As you can see, when it's on, it removes a lot of extra low end that we just really don't need there, and removes a bit of the harsh high end as well. Additionally, I've notched out some really pointed EQ moves here at about 4100 hertz, 1000 hertz, and 3100 hertz. These are some harsh places where the vocal was really, having a lot of build up, and it kind of is pretty similar across all of them just because it's really just following the tone of Tim's voice. I'll show you what they sound like on versus off. So whilst they are really notched pieces, like notch points of EQ there, they actually really create a lot of build up when there's 4 of them running at the same time, 4 of those stereo tracks, which is why it's really necessary to notch so hard, especially when, as you'll see later on, we're running a lot of reverb through them as well. So after the EQ on each of those channels, we're going to look at what we're doing on the bus here. So first up, I am actually running a virtual channel here, and this is just providing a little bit of saturation there, just really helping that vocal sound a little bit nicer and warmer and just a little bit more saturated. I'll show this on and off. It's very subtle, but it's just really giving it a little bit more warmth, saturation, making it sound a bit nicer. Next up in the chain, I am running the SSL channel strip here, a stereo version of it. And I'm actually running a preset that I made for myself, which is just a stereo preset that I made that I usually run on harmonies. And in this particular case, it kind of worked really well for this bus, so I just rolled with it. I'm filtering out even more low end, so I've got it filtering out at 200 hertz, but because this is an SSL filter, it's actually not running it nearly as hard as maybe something that you could set with FabFilter. Additionally, I'm also removing a little bit at 1.5K, just getting rid of about 1.5 dB or so there, and I'm boosting at around 800 hertz there at 0.5 dB. And I'm also compressing pretty hard, nearly 8:1. And I'm also making sure that I have the channel out selected there for the compressor to run after the EQ in that channel. So I'll show you what processing this is doing. So as you can see, it's definitely cleaning up a lot of that low end and making the vocal sound significantly more focused. It is making it a little bit brighter. It's poking it out a little bit more, but in a very smooth way. And obviously removing a little bit more of that harsh frequency at about 1.5K that's kind of poking through in this particular section of the vocal. After that, we're running more EQ again. And as you can see, I've hit similar places to where the notching was done before, but this is just a little bit more build up that's happening here with FabFilter Pro Q2. I'll show you what these notches sound like, and this is why you'll be very happy that I did that in the mix. That 10,000 hertz one is going to be quite hard to hear unless you've got some monitors or a good set of headphones. I'll show you what it sounds like with this whole EQ on and off. See, before, when we had the SSL channel on and not the FabFilter EQ on, those notches there, they probably weren't really well noticed. But as soon as we switch this on and off, they become glaringly obvious. These are really important moves for you to make when you're processing background vocals, because if you've got a lot of vocals coming into one bus and being played in the song, there's so much build-up of resonant frequencies. It's really important that you sweep around and find, it could be anywhere between sort of 2 to 3, sometimes 5, 6, 7 different frequencies that are really, really super resonant and piercing that you're going to notch out. You can also do them dynamically as well. Next up in the chain, we are using the CLA 76 Blue Stripe compressor. This is in your face preset. I really love this. You might have seen this in some previous videos, and this just really helps control this vocal and keep it nice and even. It is a consistent vocal, so it's not going to be doing a dramatic amount to control the vocal, but it's still necessary in the chain. You'll also notice that there is a volume drop as well. As much as that's not a true representation of how the compression is actually working, the volume drop was necessary in the mix, and I just found it really easy to just turn it down with this plugin anyway, rather than having to go through and adjust my gain structure previously. But it's definitely helping. It's not doing a dramatic amount of compression, as you can see, but it's certainly helping control that vocal. After the compression, we're doing some more saturation, and this is with the Slate Virtual Tape Machine. I am just running this and removing some of that noise reduction there, and also making sure that I've adjusted the bass alignment so it's not boosting it. That's a thing that sometimes happens with the default setting with this plugin, so just be wary and make sure you check the noise floor. Also make sure as well that the hiss auto mute has been selected. You don't want to have any unnecessary tape hiss in your production, unless that's what you're after, but I'm not. So basically after that, obviously we've just got it running here at 30 IPS, and I've got the tape style as the FG456. I've got it as a 1/2" 2-track machine type, and I've got it running on the normal bias, and we'll just show you what it's doing. So it's really just smoothing out the top end on that there. I mean, the vocals don't have too much top end, as we obviously already rolled off 12K before, but we're just smoothing it a little bit more, giving it a little bit more saturation, just making it sound a little bit nicer. You know, small moves like this, they don't really do that much on their own, but when you put them all together, they really add up and really make the mix a lot better. And after the compressor, we are running the Waves L1 limiter. Now, if you've seen any of my previous videos, you'll see that I'm a big fan of this limiter. And like I always do, it's actually not doing a dramatic amount. It's just really controlling the edges of some of the volume there, making sure that it's even, and just really making sure that it's hitting the vocal bus, you know, consistently. So we're just going to show what it's going to do there. It's really just shaving the peaks off. So most of the time, what you'll see is it's just dealing with the attack of the note, and then after that, it's pretty consistent afterwards. So looking at the effects we have on the background vocal bus, we have a number of different effects here. We have a reverb, an initial delay, a chorus, a vocal doubler, and another stereo delay as well there. Now, I'm just going to play you what it all sounds like together. So it definitely helps the vocal there, you know, gives it a bit more spread, makes it sound a bit smoother, washes it out a bit, and makes it sit in the background but still provide a lot of support. I'm going to show you what those different reverbs and delays and obviously the other effects are doing right now. So the first one that we've got is the vocal reverb. We're running the Verb Suite Classic preset here, which is the long range preset. It's running at the FG480. It's a medium haul, about, 1.8 seconds or so. A little bit of pre-delay there, a little bit of chorus, maximum width, and we're rolling off the high end a bit as well. And I'm filtering that afterwards with FabFilter Pro Q2, rolling off the low end, a bit of high end there, and also getting rid of a few annoying resonant frequencies. After which we are then going to the vocal delay. Now, the first thing I'm doing is I'm actually de-essing. Now, the de-esser is mostly because this is the main vocal delay for the whole song. I just happen to be running the background vocals into it. Obviously, there's not really that much sibilance happening with these particular background vocals, so it's not particularly relevant for the chain right now, but it's definitely something for you to consider for your main vocal delay before you run it into the actual delay itself, which in this particular case, I'm using the Echo Boy. I have a quarter note. It's running the mix 100% wet, a decent amount of feedback, some saturation there on a studio tape style tape, and I've got it on single echo, rolling off the low end and rolling off the high end as well. And I'm also making sure it's been set to the tempo. After that main delay, I'm also filtering it with FabFilter Pro Q as well, and I'm rolling off the low end quite significantly at 450 and the high end at 3000. And I'm additionally sending this through to a reverb that is generally speaking the main reverb that I'm using in this song. It's not actually a reverb that I have on the background vocals. It's more for the lead vocal, but it's definitely something that you should be doing if you're running a delay and you want to make sure you're getting that delay to work and, you know, sort of coexist with your main reverb really well. After that, I'm then going and running a chorus here. I'm using the little micro shift from Sound Toys on the preset number 2. I've got a fully 100% mix going on there. And then after that, I'm actually rolling off a little bit of the high end here at 12K, and then a lot of the low end all the way at 500. And then I'm also actually doing a high shelf, but I'm actually taking about 8 dB away from 2K, just because I found that section in this particular chorus to sound a little bit strange in this mix. So I just wanted to get rid of more high end, but not actually completely take it away. After the chorus, I'm running the doubler from Waves. I'm running it on doubler 4 stereo, and I'm actually running it on the doubler 4 voices preset. This is just helping, you know, spread the vocal a bit more. I don't really have it being sent to it that much. It's being sent to it from the background vocals at minus 25 decibels. So it's just adding a little bit of thickness. And then after that, I am running my stereo delay, which is effectively kind of running as a reverb. I have a de-esser going into it because this is kind of running on almost all of the vocal tracks. And this is something that I've shown in previous videos, but it's basically running a very small difference between the first delay and the second delay. In this particular case, it's less than 40 milliseconds. And it's basically meaning that, and I'm filtering off, doing a high pass filter here, or high filter here at 4K. And basically what it's doing is it's giving this delay the sort of appearance and effect to be perceived as a reverb, because the delay period is so short. It actually is a delay though, so what it means is it's going to come out of the 2 different speakers and sound a little bit more coherent in a mix and be less washed out than a reverb. So this is kind of just poking it out a little bit more for this particular vocal. This is probably not as necessary as some of the other parts of the effect chain, but it sounded good in the mix, so I just kept it on. So now what I'm going to do is, to sum it all up, is I'm going to show you what this vocals sound like without the background vocal, just on their own. And then I'm going to bring in the background vocal, and you can see how much it's really providing across the whole thing there now that you've seen the breakdown of the mix of it.
Therapy, you need therapy, 'cause he moved on while you slept on. Why can't you see that this scene, it grows, corrupting leaves you feel all alone. Don't let this virus take hold of your soul, just let go before roots take hold.
And now we add the background vocals in.
Therapy, you need therapy, 'cause he moved on while you slept on. Why can't you see that this scene, it grows, corrupting leaves you feel all alone. Don't let this virus take hold of your your soul, just let go before roots take hold. Roadside.
So there you go. That's effectively how you can use background vocals to really make your chorus pop, provide a lot more harmonic reinforcement, really support the song. And as you can see in this particular case, we've just picked a few key notes that work with the chords. Obviously, you know, yours is probably going to be different depending on what you're doing in your song. And as much as this is a rock song or a punk song, so to speak, you can do this in pop production. It's been done so many different times. So there you have it. Now you've got my take on how to do some huge background vocals to fill out your choruses, give them that pop energy, and make them really stand out in your productions. Vocal layering is so much fun. There's so many different ways that you can apply it in your productions, whether or not you're going overboard or you're just scattering a little bit of it here and there. I'm a big fan of it, but I'd love to hear your favorite vocal layering production. Hit me up in the comments below. And if you want to step it up and learn more, don't forget we've got that free vocal production course available. But for now, take it easy.
Reset.